how to automate your bookkeeping business and save 10 hours per week. My name is Zach Pasquarello. In this video, I'm going to go over QuickBooks Online, recurring transactions, payroll, workflow, managing your emails, manual automation, and a lot of other tips. I grew my bookkeeping business to the point where I had 87 bookkeeping clients, almost $50,000 of monthly recurring revenue. Honestly, I make these videos because I love talking about bookkeeping. I love talking about my business, and I figured out my friends and family didn't care about it, but I like that you guys do enjoy listening to me talk about it. So let's jump right into it. Let's talk about it. Let's get started with QBO rules, QuickBooks Online. They have this function where you can set up rules, automation. Basically, it's an if-then statement. So if this occurs, then do this. And this all happens in the QuickBooks Online bank feed. So here, you want to make sure your bank accounts and your credit cards are connected first to the QuickBooks Online bank feed so that your transaction data is automatically imported into QuickBooks Online. This is not the entire process of categorizing transactions. Just because your bank accounts are connected to the bank feed does not mean that QuickBooks is going to automatically categorize all of your transactions. There still is potentially some manual work that you need to do, but setting up rules can make this easier, faster, more efficient, potentially more accurate. So you're basically going to say, if this happens, then do this. And QuickBooks will automatically do things. You want to make sure you do it correctly. There's different options inside the rules. When you go to the rules, I'm not going to show it on my screen, but open up QuickBooks Online while you're watching this video. Go to the bank feed, go to rules. You can see when you create a new rule, you're going to add a title or a description of the rule, and then it's going to be money coming in, money going out, and then which account. I typically like to select all accounts, but you can select specific accounts if you want. And then this is the most important part. There are three options: bank text, description, amount. I never do description. I always choose bank text, and I'm very specific. For example, Google. You might spend money at Google for ads, or maybe Google Office Suite, or maybe Google Play. So you can't just put Google in the bank text. You have to say Google G Suite, Google Ads. You need to be very specific because, of course, you want to categorize Google Ads differently than you're going to categorize Google G Suite. So using the bank text option, look at the bank detail of the transaction in the bank feed. It needs to match perfectly. Apostrophe, no apostrophe. Space, no space. All one word. Spaces in between the words. It needs to match perfectly. And then there's a little button. You can click test the rule. So once you put the bank text in there, click test the rule and make sure it actually works. And then you can say, so that's if that happens, then who's the payee? What's the chart of accounts? What's the category? What's the class? What's the memo? You can make specific adjustments for the if-then rule inside of QuickBooks. Super helpful for recurring transactions. If you've got a client who goes to Home Depot all the time and they're just buying job supplies, too easy. Home Depot is the bank text. The vendor is Home Depot. Description, category, job supplies, too easy. Done. And now, anytime a Home Depot transaction comes into the bank feed, QuickBooks will automatically categorize that transaction as job supplies. Super simple. It's going to save you a ton of time. Just that alone, if you've got 20 clients or more, that alone will probably save you 10 hours every week. Recurring transactions. QuickBooks Online has this feature where you can set up recurring transactions. Could be good for depreciation or interest payments, loan payments, anything. So you can set up recurring journal entries. And then just be careful because these journal entries will then happen every month. You can make it happen on a specific day, 30th day of the month, first day of the month, 15th day of the month. And then you can have it stop after a certain number of occurrences, which is helpful. Maybe this journal entry, maybe it's for a prepaid expense or a deferred revenue. Maybe this journal entry is only going to happen for 6 months, maybe 12 months. So for the occurrence, stop after 12 occurrences, and then it'll only run for 12 months. Recurring journal entries, super helpful. Invoices. You can do this for your own business, or you can do this for your clients if you're managing their accounts receivable. This can be super helpful if you are doing billing monthly. You can set up recurring invoices, first of the month to client XYZ for monthly services, $1,000. Set that up as a recurring transaction to occur on the first of the month. And then the next month, on the first day of the month, that invoice will automatically get created. Super helpful for clients like us or other clients who have monthly billing that's the same. And then you can also automatically send these invoices to your customers. And then you can go a step further and you can set up payment processing with QuickBooks. And so literally all of your monthly accounts receivable could potentially be automated just by using QuickBooks Online. Automatically sending those emails to your clients. Just make sure you have the correct email address in the client profile in QuickBooks Online. And then you can also set up automatic reminders for QuickBooks Online invoices, accounts receivable, for due date reminders. So there's 3 reminders that you can set up. So typically I like to do 3 days on the due date, 3 days after the due date, 7 days after the due date. This is going to automatically send an email to your customers on the due date, 3 days, 7 days, 14 days after the due date. Or you can even do it 7 days before the due date. If you're net 30, hey, reminder, this invoice is due in 7 days. Such a great feature that you can be hands off and you can automate your accounts receivable. If you want to send reports to your clients weekly, I typically do this with accounts payable and accounts receivable. You can set up automated reports to send to your customers weekly or monthly or any amount of time. And this is great if you want to send an accounts receivable aging report or accounts payable aging detail report so that your clients can see which bills, which invoices are still outstanding. You can automatically schedule that email to be sent from QuickBooks Online on a specific day of the week. I do it a lot on Friday, a lot on Monday. Super helpful, makes me look really good as a bookkeeper, and it's really helpful for the client because they're getting that automated weekly reminder what bills are outstanding, what invoices haven't been paid yet. Another thing you can do, not quite automation, but you can copy transactions from last month or last week. This is especially helpful if you're making interest payments or loan payments every month and you're splitting interest, principal, and escrow. You can just simply copy the payment from last month and then copy it and recreate it for the first of this month. And then you can just simply match the bank feed transaction to the copied expense that you just created. That way you don't have to redo all the details, all the chart of accounts and the class and the vendor and the amounts. You can just copy, recreate the transaction, and do it again. I do this a lot for my investment fund, Zip Capital, because I have monthly distributions going out to my investors. So I pay my investors 8% up to 12% fixed returns, and I pay my investors monthly distributions based on how much they invest. So typically when I go to my QuickBooks for Zip Capital, I will just simply copy last month's journal entry that shows all of my investor payments. That way I don't have to redo every line item in the journal entry. I just update the amounts. Or if I get new investors, I just add the investors to that journal entry. Super simple. It's not quite an automation, but it's definitely a great way to shortcut and do less work for yourself. Speaking of Zip Capital, if you want to invest, there's a link in the description of this video. You can go to my website, register, learn more. It is only open to US citizens and accredited investors, which means you have to have $200,000 of annual income or a $1 million net worth. So if you meet either of those criteria and you want to invest in Zip Capital, I'll pay you 8% up to 12% annual fixed returns. Great potential alternative if you've got money sitting in a bank CD or a savings account or maybe even US Treasury bills. Could be a different way to invest some of your cash. Payroll. So I don't really have like a great way to automate payroll other than outsource your payroll. That's my best recommendation for you. Outsource your payroll. Let a local payroll company do it for you. Let ADP do it. Paychex, Paycor, Gusto, Patriot. There's probably hundreds of different payroll companies. I just recommend, I love QuickBooks Online. If anybody from Intuit is watching this video, I love your company, hate your payroll. I'm just going to be honest. I don't think QuickBooks Online is great for payroll. So I recommend use a different payroll company to process your payroll, but just outsource that. Maybe even partner with a local CPA or a local payroll company, or you can even become a partner with ADP and you can get like a referral bonus or commission for all of your clients who you refer out to other people to run the payroll. So it's a great way that you can still get paid, but you can just outsource the payroll. That way you don't have to deal with all the tax filings, local, state, federal. It just becomes a nightmare. Let's talk about workflow. So we talked a little bit about QuickBooks Online and journal entries and categorizing transactions, but big picture, how do we do the bookkeeping? So with QuickBooks Online, it takes time to log in and update the bank feed. I know it seems kind of silly, but having 80 clients, I know that doing 16, 17, 18 clients per day, it actually takes a lot of time to just simply switch between clients and update the bank feed. So it would be impossible for me to do bookkeeping for 80 clients every day. I don't do that. Instead, I have a workflow where I only service my clients once per week. So I split it up 5 days, Monday through Friday, 80 clients divided by 5. So each client gets assigned a day of the week. And I have a couple digital downloads on my website available. If you want to check them out, there's a link in the description of this video, I think, and it'll kind of help walk you through some of these workflow things, some of my client onboarding, some of my marketing. If you want to check out my website, it's linked down below. Got some good digital downloads for you. But it takes time to log in and update the bank feed. So I only service my clients weekly. Just log in, update their bank feed once per week. So if you're a Monday client, I'm only doing your bookkeeping on Monday. And there's something new that I started doing. If a Monday client emails me on Thursday, if it's not something I need to take care of immediately, which it never really is, bookkeeping is never really an emergency. If a Monday client emails me on Thursday, I will simply forward that email to go to myself Monday morning. So I'll schedule the email inside of my Google G Suite to arrive into myself on Monday morning. That way I don't have to That way I don't have to log into their books twice in a week. For your smaller clients, there's really no need to log into their books more than once a week, at least in my opinion. And then monthly reconciliations, same concept. If you're a Monday client, I'm going to reconcile your accounts on Monday. I would be so stressed out if I was trying to reconcile everybody's accounts all at once. So come Friday, I'm not worried about anything, no matter what day of the week it is. I'm not worried about anything other than my Friday clients. And so that just helps me strategically approach my workflow so that I'm not overwhelmed, stressed out, and worried about all of my clients. I just focus on my Friday clients on Friday. Weekly, monthly, nothing changes. So I have a bookkeeping course where I teach you all this stuff in detail. I screen share and I record my screen share and I show that so that you can see like all the QuickBooks stuff that I was talking about, all the workflow, the monthly reconciliations and the bank feed and categorizing transactions and journal entries and invoices and marketing and sales. Inside of my course, I go through all of that stuff and I share my screen and I really walk you through kind of start to finish everything you need to know how to start a bookkeeping business. I've sold more than 100 copies. I've helped hundreds of people start their own bookkeeping business. So if you want to check out that course, if you kind of want to just learn everything you need to know in an organized, structured course, check that out. It's linked in the description of this video. I think it could be helpful for you. Emails. As a bookkeeper, I live and die by my emails. So I use an extension and I tried to get an affiliate link for this company, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. But I'm going to talk about them anyway because I love them so much. Not getting paid to talk about this, but Right Inbox. They enable me to schedule recurring emails, and this is an absolute lifesaver. So on the first day of every month, I have automatic recurring emails going out to all of my clients. Documents needed. Hey, Tom, please send me last month's bank statements and credit card statements. Specifically, I need your American Express credit card statement, your Capital One credit card statement, and your Wells Fargo bank statement from last month. Boom, done. And then I just wait for the client to respond to my email. And then once I get their email, I do their reconciliation and I'm done with their month-end close. That monthly recurring email has saved me so much time, so much stress. It has just automated the month-end close process, and I'm doing it all with Right Inbox, an extension on my Google G Suite. So Google Right Inbox, neither of them paying me to say this. I just love working with them. They've got a great product. And then weekly reminders. So there's things as a bookkeeper that we do, that's everything we do is routine. So there are also things that I need to do weekly. Like for example, I have a real estate company. They have a Google Drive and I upload reports for them weekly. So every Friday morning at 5 a.m., I send a weekly automatic email to myself. So not to other people, but you can send emails to yourself. And so I kind of use this as a task checklist, as a reminder. So every Friday, 5 a.m., I get an email to myself. Oh, reminder, upload those reports to the Google Drive. Oh, and by the way, here's the 7 reports that you need to upload. So I don't have to think, I don't have to remember. I'm not looking at my calendar. I live and die by my email inbox. So if I have a task that needs to be done, it's usually in my email inbox. And so that's just what I do every day. I just knock off tasks. I just complete tasks. And then if let's say for example, I'm going to lunch, I'm going to the gym, I'm about to go into a meeting and something pops into my head, something I need to take care of. If I don't have time to take care of it in that moment, I'll send an email to myself, because there's no way that I'm going to go into a meeting for an hour, come out of that meeting and remember the thing that I was just thinking about that needed to get done. So if I don't send an email to myself, if I don't write it down, if I don't make a note, I'm going to forget about it. So I live and die by my emails. That's my daily task checklist. That's how I do it. There's some manual automation. So like I said, scheduling emails to myself. So this isn't necessarily traditional automation where it's set it and forget it, recurring, but I do schedule emails to myself so that it can be kind of a manual automation. Like if there's something that needs to be done next Tuesday or every month on the 20th of the month, I will schedule an email to myself. So like I said, notes from clients. If a client sends me an email on Thursday, but they're a Monday client, I get their email. That's great. I'm not going to respond just yet. Or maybe I will respond and said, got it, thanks. But then I'm not going to take action on that email until Monday because they're a Monday client. I don't want to log into their QuickBooks twice in 1 week. There's no need to, because bookkeeping is never urgent. So get the email on Thursday, schedule it to go to myself on Monday, and then take care of it. Sales tax filing. So I schedule emails to myself every month on, the 10th of the month. Sales tax needs to be completed for these clients. Month-end journal entry. Maybe I'll schedule an email to myself every month on the 5th of the month saying, hey, don't forget, you need to do this journal entry for this client. Here are the details. It's just a daily task, daily checklist, daily reminder. And then even daily, I literally have a daily email that comes to my inbox every day at 4 p.m. I have a client who pays me extra for a daily cash flow tracker. So I update their bank accounts and their credit card balances in their daily cash flow tracker, and then I send them an update. Every day at 4 p.m., like clockwork, I get an email, another task that needs to get done before the end of the day. I would not be able to do it if I wasn't scheduling emails. And then finally, with Zip Capital, with my investors, I send out monthly updates. So if I'm working on something late at night, early in the morning, or a couple days in advance, I might not want to send that email right away. So instead, if I'm working on something today that I want to go out tomorrow, I can still work on it. I can still finish it, and then I can schedule the email to go out tomorrow. So I do that every month with my investors. I compile P&L, balance sheet, loan history, financial reports for my investment fund. And then everybody who's interested in Zip Capital, everybody who's invested in Zip Capital gets a monthly email with an update, and I schedule that in the future so that they get it at the appropriate time. Scheduling emails, recurring emails has been an absolute lifesaver. Okay, that's kind of it for the automation stuff, but I was making notes for this video and I just came up with like 5 or 6 other things that I thought were really important to bring up. So if you don't mind, I'm going to take a couple extra minutes and just go through some extra tips. So if you found any of this helpful, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. That way you get alerts. Feel free to comment. Let me know what you think about this video. Let me know what else you want to see. If you want me to talk about other things or different things or more detailed things or maybe more simple things, let me know. I would love to hear your feedback. And then of course, finally, check out all the links in the description of this video. Follow me on social media. Check out my course. Consider investing in Zip Capital. I've got a ton of other stuff. Oh, real quick, this has been really fun. I have weekly meetings every Monday at 3 p.m. and they've been incredibly valuable, not only for the students who are in the meetings, but also for me. I've learned a lot. I've had a great experience. It's a live question and answer, a live forum, open forum. There's about 30 people in the group. Sometimes 15 to 20 people show up every Monday, and we just have an hour-long discussion. Everybody in the group gets an opportunity to ask me questions, and other people get to answer their questions. Wide variety of experiences. Definitely recommend. Consider joining. It's only $49 per month. You get access to an entire month worth of live meetings every Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that link is also in the description of this video. Okay, set up a home office. Don't work in your clients' offices. This isn't really an automation tip. This is more of a time management, time efficiency tip. Having a home office is an absolute game changer. If you work early in the morning, late at night, on the weekends, incredible. I can roll out of bed, grab a cup of coffee. I'm in my office in 10 minutes. No time wasted. Right before bed, take a shower, knock out a couple emails, go right into bed. Too easy, so fast, so efficient. I refuse to travel to clients' offices. That wastes so much time. Other companies have to do it. If you're a landscaper, if you're a roofer, interior designer, engineer, you have to do it. You have to go to these places to do your job, but we don't. We can work virtually, remotely, on the computer, Zoom call, Google Meet, share screens, talk on the phone, on the cloud. We can do everything remotely. Save time, be efficient. If you want to go to your client's office, of course, do whatever you want. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. Monthly billing for your clients. This wasn't a problem in the beginning. I only had 5 clients, not a big deal. As you grow, as you get the next 10 clients or the next 20 clients, you want to implement this right away. ACH Origination. You can set it up with your business bank account. You have to get pre-approved. So you have to submit tax returns and documents. You have to get approved, but you can pull your clients' monthly payments. So I am not waiting for my clients to pay. I'm not sending them invoices asking them to pay. I get their bank information, account number, routing number. I get an ACH authorization agreement. They sign a document saying, yes, I agree to let you do this. I pull their payment every month. If I quote you $700 a month for bookkeeping, you're going to sign a document giving me your bank information and saying, yes, I agree for Harrisburg Bookkeeping to charge my account $700 starting on the first of the month, every month after that. Set up ACH Origination. That way you're not waiting for clients to pay you. You're not sending invoices. You're not wasting time. You're not stressed out. You're not struggling with cash flow. Your clients are paying you on the first day of every month. One of the best things I ever did. Use PandaDoc to electronically send client agreements. Super simple, super straightforward. I used to just send a PDF and then the client would have to print it out or figure out some way that they can sign it electronically on their own. But now with PandaDoc, clients can sign client agreements on their cell phone. Super simple, super straightforward. It's a little bit expensive, but I definitely recommend, as your volume increases, definitely consider using PandaDoc or some other way to electronically send and sign client agreements. Avoid scope creep and establish barriers. This starts by having a client agreement. I've got one on my website. The link is in the description. Check it out. It's on my website. You can download it. Avoid scope creep and establish barriers. Have a very clear scope of work. I'm going to do your bookkeeping, which means I'm going to categorize your transactions, reconcile your accounts, generate financial reports. That way, if they ask you to do payroll, if they ask you to help with their budget or their forecasting or their accounts receivable or their accounts payable, that's not in the scope of work. Maybe I might be able to do that, maybe not. But if I do that, it's going to be a separate engagement. It's going to be an additional client agreement. It's going to cost more. Set up barriers, set up boundaries, and avoid scope creep. Because as a bookkeeper, there's so many things we can do. You can play more of an office manager role. You can play more of a chief financial officer role. You can play more of an executive assistant, virtual assistant role. There's so many different things that you can do. Accounts payable, accounts receivable, fractional CFO, accountant. But if you just want to do bookkeeping, you absolutely can. That's actually what I recommend. I recommend become a niche expert. And the niche that you can be in, I don't necessarily mean only work with restaurants, only work with real estate investors, only work with trucking companies. Not necessarily what I mean, but instead, pick a niche that revolves around the service that you provide and the software that you use. So I talk a lot about QuickBooks Online, talk a lot about bookkeeping. That's my niche. I only work with QuickBooks Online. I only do bookkeeping. I don't do payroll. I don't do taxes, fractional CFO services. I don't work with QuickBooks Desktop or Xero or Sage, any other software. I only work with QuickBooks Online and bookkeeping. And here's the reason. I'm an expert. I'm able to work efficiently. I'm able to do more in less time, which means I can handle more clients. That's how I got to 87 bookkeeping clients all at once, all on my own. I'm able to do more, take on more work, thereby making more money. That's kind of the whole point, right? We want to be able to work more efficiently because we're not getting paid hourly. We're getting paid fixed monthly rates. So if you want to become more efficient, have a specialty. Only work with QuickBooks Online. That's what I do. I'm an expert. I can do everything super fast in QuickBooks Online. I can take on more work. I can make more money. And then finally, don't be afraid to do all of the work yourself. That's how I built my business. I'm not saying it's the best way for everybody to run their business, but I feel like I have to bring it up because so many people encourage you to do the opposite. So many people say outsource things, hire people, get help, don't do everything yourself, delegate, which could work. Absolutely, it does. Obviously, that is a great business model. But if you're anything like me, I like doing all the work myself. I'm a control freak. I like to be hands-on. It's not always a good thing, but it's how I like to operate. So for me, I don't rely on anybody. I don't manage anybody. I do everything myself. So a couple of cons, I work a lot. It's hard for me to go on vacation. If I want to sell the business or scale, it's going to be more difficult. Pro, I don't have to train anybody. I don't have to rely on anybody. Quality control is top notch because I'm doing all the work. So I don't have to check the work of other people. I don't have to train other people. I don't have to worry about losing people or switching people. I can control the quality. I can control the work that's being done, and I can do it all myself, and I can maximize profits. So if you don't mind working a lot, if you don't mind working on the weekends, working on vacation, if you don't mind learning new things like marketing, sales, social media, IT, legal, if you don't mind learning those things, then consider doing all the work yourself. Or if you want to outsource and hire people, you certainly can. I just want to bring it up just to acknowledge the fact that it's an option. You don't have to grow some massive business where you've got employees in an office and big systems and processes. You can keep it simple. You can do things yourself. So appreciate you watching. Really, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, I love making these videos. I'm trying to grow Zip Capital, my investment fund. So if you want to join my investment fund, if you're an accredited investor, consider registering on my website. I'm offering 8% up to 12% fixed returns. And if you want to grow your bookkeeping business, check out my course. And as always, I will see you next week. Thank you so much. Have a great day.